And we're back, and we're trusting that you kept it right here on the amazing 102.5 FM, and then even to our social media platforms. Thank you for being with us today. So while we were at commercial break, we were processing some advisement. We're going to just jump right into that conversation, and we're going to bring your son in and give him credit. So what is the advisement that your son gave again? And we'll allow the audience to just listen into our conversation about that.
Well, I've been blessed because all three of my children have been good counselors to me, and I have that kind of relationship with them. But I remember my middle son telling me one time, he said, it's as important to know when to walk away as it is when to walk up. Because there are times a lot of us don't like to give up. Nobody likes giving up. And so we think that if we can just work harder, beat our head against the wall harder, that the wall's going to break down.
I want business owners and leaders to hear that today, because most often in our arena, all you're ever going to really hear is someone saying, keep going, keep going, keep going. And what you are holding space for and giving grace to is this idea that sometimes you start, and that's important, and other times you need to know when to stop. And that's just as valid. That's just as important. But you begin then to talk about what a stop or walk away can look alike, because some of us don't want to do it because it makes us feel as if we're quitting on the dream or the goal. And you're saying that's not really how you're defining walk away or stop at all.
Because unfortunately, failure is not viewed very kindly by our society, but failure is a great teacher. And if we fail forward,
that's the thing.
That's the thing. And one failure can lead to another great success.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
But also the whole notion that it's maybe not the mission or the business that's the problem. It's maybe the approach that's a problem.
So hear that as you're getting your nuggets. You're saying stopping doesn't necessarily look like stopping the vision or the mission. It's not necessarily the mission. You may need to tweak the method. You're speaking more to that. Yes.
Exactly. And being a former jock, I remember in high school we had played against this one school for 3 years, and they'd always beaten us. And the last time we came, it was a championship game, and the coach said, we're going to change our tactic because we were a running basketball team. He said, we're going to stall, which was new to us. We had to learn how to hold the ball.
Because you were so used to running. It was your cadence.
Because that was their game. They were better at it than we were. We won that game. Not because we tried harder, because we tried smarter. And the tactics are critical. The strategies, so very important in making, because the greatest, the loftiest of missions can still not succeed if the strategy isn't right.
Yes, yes.
And that's where mentoring comes in, right? Coaching.
Yes.
In our case, our coach came up with a new strategy.
Yes. Yes, and it was just as important to listen to that. So for business owners and leaders who are on the line today, listening today, that's a lot of rich wisdom. This idea that we can stick with the mission, but we can shift the method, and then to even help us shift the method, we can get a mentor, like alliteration. So we can shift the method, not necessarily the mission. So for those of you who could never step back and kind of recalibrate because you felt like you were quitting what you had created, he's giving us advisement on how to move differently, to perhaps not give up on what we created, but to learn how to do it a different way. And have you actually had to do that yourself? Had you had to recreate a component of what you do?
I did. When you pastor the same church at Foundry United Methodist Church for 37 years, you have to remake yourself because there's a lot of water under the bridge. A lot of things have happened in the meantime. And so it's something that we always have to recreate. What worked well a year or two ago may not work well this year.
And that does not mean failure.
No,
is what
it
you
doesn't.
said. Just
no,
regroup.
It doesn't. It is the regrouping. It is looking for new relationships, somebody to speak into your voice. And I always say to people, because we've all come to the point where the weight of life crushes us and we're on our knees, and I say even Jesus fell under the weight of his cross. and somebody else had to carry it for them. And so very often, because I do think relationships are key to success in life.
Yes.
It's, if we're not succeeding, it may be because we don't have the right relationships yet. It goes back to those intersections. Who have you ignored, you know, when you passed an intersection a few weeks ago? And so it's keeping your eyes open, being an opportunist in a positive way, not to take advantage of people, but take advantage of life and the opportunities that God brings us.
Well, we are about to wrap it up today. Thank you so much for being in the studio. If you'll tell them again the name of your organization, if you want to talk right to your audience, they're right there. The name of the organization, and if they want to reach out, want to support, how can they contact, and all things that.
Very good. It is Hope Disaster Recovery, and we're on Facebook, webpage. We have rebuilt 1,080 homes since Hurricane Harvey. We have distributed $24 million in advocated and provided for basic needs to our greater Houston population after disasters.
All right, so if you want to reach out, if you want to support, if you want to connect, then you're definitely able to locate them on the website. Is this it? Just Hope
drtx.org.
HopeDRTX.org. And is it listed on the social media platforms at the same?
Yes.
And it's on the social media. Y'all heard him. I'm about to repeat it, but in who I am, it's on the social media platforms at the same. And so we thank you again for being in the audience or being in the studio on today and listening, helping our audience to listen to some rich nuggets. Y'all keep it right here on the amazing 102.5 FM.